If you're just starting out self-publishing on the Amazon KDP platform, whether it's fiction, non-fiction or low content books, then you're probably asking yourself these questions. Will it work? Will I make any money? Am I wasting my time? Is this just a scam? Or do I even have the skills to be able to succeed at this in the first place? And I know, because these were the exact same questions I asked myself when I first started out. So in this video, I'm going to give you my 3 keys to success self-publishing on the KDP platform. Now, if you've not been here before, then welcome to the channel. My name is Paul Miles and I do videos on how to make it, keep it and grow it. And that's your money I'm talking about. And if you do like videos like that, then please do give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, smash that notification bell to receive notification of when I produce more videos like this. Okay, so what are these 3 keys? Well, briefly, they're hard work, persistence, and experimentation. So you could say, okay, you give me those 3 keys, I can go away now and be a success. Well, not quite, because there's a bit more detail to this, and I do have some actionable steps for you to take away and give yourself the best chance of succeeding at publishing on Amazon KDP. Now, let's deal with the hard work. And the problem is with this business, the barrier to entry is very low. You can actually do all this for free and you can get books up pretty quickly. So you've got to do something to stand out from the crowd. And one of those things is putting in the hard work to learn this business and putting in the hard work to create the books, to create books that do stand out. So the time you need needs to be devoted to creating and to learning. Now, what I suggest doing is trying to find a regular amount of time every day to devote to this business and treat it like a proper startup business. And if you can get in an hour, 2 hours a day, you're going to get the maximum benefit out of this. Now, I know a lot of you probably have full-time jobs, have families, have kids, and it's difficult to find that time, but you've got to try and do your best to actually, you know, find those hours in the day, whether it's before work, after work, or at weekends. When I first started out, I had a full-time job and I was working on this mostly in the evenings and lunch times, and I would go on till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning every single day, and I did that for months and months. And so, you know, you've got to try and do that yourself. Now, what I would suggest doing is splitting your time between learning and creating, and maybe looking at something like, you know, for every half an hour learning you do 1.5 hours of creating. Maybe at the start when you are learning, when you get, you know, trying to get over that sort of big learning curve, doing sort of maybe 1 hour of learning to every 1 hour of creating. And there are lots of resources out there to learn. There's YouTube, where you can get most of it for free. There are courses you can buy from self-publishers. And then there are courses on sites like Udemy, Skillshare, Coursera. I particularly use Udemy and Skillshare a lot, and I've done courses on colour theory, lettering, and I've done courses over the years on keyword research, because I've had other businesses online, and as I said before, keyword research is essential to nearly every business online. So my advice, my actionable step on this is to get out a calendar and mark out regular amounts of time when you know you're going to be free that you can devote to this and stick to it. And even if you've been doing this for months and months and you find yourself, you know, 1 week doing 2 hours, the next week doing 7 hours, a week after that maybe nothing at all, try and do it on a regular basis. Otherwise you find that you learn something, then you don't implement it for a week, and you're having to relearn it over again. So if you manage to learn something and implement it every day, you'll find that it sticks a lot better, and you'll find that you'll learn a lot quicker and you'll achieve success a lot quicker. Now, the next key is persistence, and this is important, as all these 3 keys are, and that is you need to keep doing the learning and the creating. Now, many of you out there probably drive a car, You remember when you're driving, if you stall the car or you get the wrong gear or you make some error, what do? Do you get out of the car, declare it a scam, and I'm going to be looking at other types of transport? No. You persist. You learn from your mistakes and you keep going at it. You keep grinding away and eventually you learn to drive and you become quite proficient at it. Well, most people do anyway. And it's the same for children when they're learning to walk. They stand up, they take that first step and invariably fall over. What do? Do they declare this walking business as a saturated niche? No, they get up, they take another step, and then they take another step, and eventually they learn to walk. And it's the same with this as any other business. You're going to experience hurdles, you're going to have failures, and you need to be able to persist and continue with this, because as you do, you're going to learn more and you're going to create better books and make those sales. Now, the problem is most people set themselves too short a time frame to succeed at this business. Most people, from messages and comments I get, give themselves like a couple of weeks or a month, because I get messages. I need $500 next month, for medical bills or to pay my rent. Do you think this is possible, producing books? Well, 99% of the time I'd say no, that's not possible, because you need more realistic time goals in which to persist at this. And when I first started out, I gave myself a year. I knew this will succeed because I'd seen people produce books on Amazon, the independently published books, the CreateSpace or the KDP books, and I could see people were making sales, and I could see these were relatively easy to create compared to, say, 60,000, 120,000 word books. And so I said, I'm going to give myself a year. I don't mind if I don't earn any money at all in that year. I'll just get my head down, put in the grind, learn this business and hopefully succeed. Sales did start to come in, I think relatively early, within, a few weeks, a month, and that was enough motivation to keep me going. But I was prepared to be motivated enough without getting sales to persist to that 1 year mark. And then I said to myself, okay, if I do start making sales, then I will give myself 3 years to make $2,500 a month, because I figured that over that time, with my full-time job, I could start to pay off debts, reduce my expenses, and then hopefully be in a position to go full-time on this venture and then look at other online ventures as well. And that actually came about a lot earlier than I anticipated. That actually came about probably at around the 18-month mark. So the key here is persistence. A lot of people will give up right before they're about to achieve success. And that's the same with publishing books. It's the same with YouTube channels. It's the same with creating websites online. A lot of people give up before they actually or are just about to achieve that success. And you've got to remember, everyone at this business was a beginner at some point. Even those massively successful publishers you see on Amazon that you think you can't compete with, they were beginners like you. And they started with those same self-doubts, but they persisted, achieved success and built on that to create really thriving, profitable businesses. And there is no reason whatsoever why you can't do that as well. So the step to take from this is set out a time frame. Give yourself a reasonable time frame in which to achieve certain goals. And if you think that time frame is, I've got to make money by next week, then forget it. This business isn't for you, because it's by no means a get-rich-quick scheme. It's anything but, and you're not going to be able to achieve that. So if you give yourself the permission to not make any money and give it a number of years before you achieve success, then you've got a better chance of getting there. And also, in order to be able to persist, you've got to enjoy the process. You've got to enjoy the learning. You've got to enjoy the creative process, because if you don't enjoy any aspect of that, then there's no way you'll be able to go through that, give yourself a year of not making any money, because you'll just get frustrated. So learn, to enjoy it, or hopefully you enjoy it in the first place, which got you into this business in the first place. Now, the third key, and probably one of the most difficult for most people, is the experimentation, because it involves failure. It means learning to fail and also accepting failures. Now, I've got just under 2,500 books published, and I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that just don't rank and have never made a sale. But that didn't discourage me. I just ploughed on, and if there was glaring things, errors that I made, then I would learn from that and improve my next books, and I would gradually improve on what I was creating. Because you need to be able to fail, to learn, to improve, to get that success, and then continue on that cycle. Make errors because you're pushing yourself that bit more. Learn from those errors, those failures, and again, go round in that circle. And eventually, success will come, and it will come on a more regular basis. And it was only from experimentation that I found a particular cover design that suddenly started selling well. And I used that design, I implemented it in other niches, in other types of books, and those also started to sell quite well. And I wouldn't have found that out if I was just sticking to a particular style or trying to copy other people. That doesn't get you anywhere. If you copy other people's books that are successful, Amazon won't suddenly give your books a chance, because they don't want your books that are exact copies competing against successful ones. They'll just disappear off the rankings, and Amazon will keep, pushing those successful ones. So you need to experiment with keywords, sentence structures in your titles, cover designs, the lettering, how you orientate your designs on the page, and the keywords that you use. These are all areas that you can experiment with, and you need to in order to achieve success. And everyone will achieve success in their own different way. Some will be through keywords, some will be through designs, and there's no set formula to that. You only realize and learn it by experimenting yourself. And again, this experimentation comes down to having reasonable time goals, because if you've set yourself a month to make $500, then you're not giving yourself any room to experiment. You're trying to get that perfect book with a perfect sentence, with the perfect keywords and the perfect pricing, and that doesn't exist, okay? So take these three keys that I've given you: hard work, persistence, and experimentation. That's the giving yourself permission to fail. Move forward with them, try and implement them, give them some thought, and I guarantee that if you do that and give yourself enough time, you will succeed at this. And if you are having success, then please, I'd love to hear about it. Let me know in the comments or message me. Now, if you are a beginner or new to this business, then I suggest watching this playlist next, which is my book tutorials playlist on how to get started. I hope you found this content useful. I thank you very much for your time. It's very much appreciated. If you did enjoy it, please do give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And until next time, goodbye.